Hi, it's T with Teaquilts, and today is Wednesday, July 24th, 2019, and it is, let's see, 6:59 p.m. So if you're watching this at any other time, just know that it's an uploaded version of the chat, and we are no longer live. And I did not send out notice this time. I'm just barely getting here myself, so. Hi, little Lady D. So welcome to the chat, everybody. I'm going to pull it up on my phone. So we'll just wait a few minutes because, as I was saying, I did not put notification in the Teaquilts group, nor did I come on early. I just went straight to live, so you won't get a notification that I'm upcoming. You'll get a notification that I'm actually live. So apologize for that. I had to do some errands today. I made two soups. I made a chicken and rice soup. I actually went to the grocery store today to buy a can of chicken and rice soup because I wanted some really bad, and they wanted, I think it was $2.79 for a can of Progresso soup. So I said, you know what, I got most of the ingredients at home. Had a chicken I was already eating off of that I had roasted a couple days ago. So I came home and used the rest of that chicken and made my own chicken and rice soup. And then I also made a baked potato soup. So I took some to my mom. So I hope she enjoy it. Actually, my mom and my brother, he'll probably eat some too. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into the chat box. So we've got first person in today was Little Lady D. She says, hi, welcome to the chat. We've got Diane out of Houston. She says, hi, T. Hi, Diane. And we've got Win Sprinter says hello from Maryland. Welcome to chat. Little Lady D says, how are you doing? I am doing fantastic. Finally got rid of all the sinus stuff. I just hope it doesn't come back because I have issues with it more in the summer, but I have it all year round as well. But I'm doing well right now. LC says, hello, T and everyone from Southern California. Hello, LC. Welcome back to chat. We've got Quilt Girl here. Quilt Gal. She's here, says, hi, T from Maryland. Hi, Quilt Gal. Welcome to the chat. Katie Bitumsky. I probably just butchered your name like really, really bad. Sorry about that. That's my specialty when I go through the chat is butchering names. Hello from New Hampshire. So welcome to the chat. I don't think I've seen your name before. So thank you for stopping in. Susan Glenn is here. Says happy Wednesday, Miss T, and everyone from Cincinnati. Hi, Susan. Dana Faber is here. Hey, girl, I've been busy and not online in forever. Well, welcome back. Judy Smith says, hi, T and all from NC. Happy Wednesday. And Diane says, Pappy says to tell you hi. Tell him I said hello. He was wonderful to be around, and it was amazing when you have a great husband that's great around quilters. Bonita Nan says, hi, Miss T and everyone. Hi, Bonita. T, can you do a class on the stabilizer holder or share the pattern? I probably have a couple of different stabilizer holders, and one of them was like in a pattern that was from Viking, so I can't do that. And it had the one that had the sewing machine logos on it, and I have like 3 of those, and I don't need another one. So we'll have to see. And I'm kind of busy right now. I'm actually behind in uploading videos, but I will add it to my to-do list, and I just don't know when it will be done. And I'll just like I said, I'll just write it down. At least that way I'll know it. And then I forgot what our topic is today. We had a topic last week in the video. Borders, that's what it is. So we're going to talk about borders today. Although I haven't prepared to talk about borders because I completely forgot. I've had a real busy week. June Billing says, hi, T and everyone. Hi, June. Pat Moffitt is here, says, good evening, T and everyone from New Hampshire. Katie says, you said it right. I have not been on in a long time. Okay, I just don't even remember the name because it's so different. I normally pick up different names. Venerian Vance says, hi, Miss T and everyone. Hi, welcome to chat. I don't remember your name before either, so welcome. Sandra Ingstram says, hello from Nashville. Hi, Sandra. Tracy Ruth is here, says, good evening from Central New York. Hi, T and Chatters. I mailed birthday block yesterday. All right, thank you so much. I actually got 3 of them. I got 2 in the mail and then 1 local. So I got 3 more I'll show you today. And Bonita says, when and why is it necessary to use a scant 1/4 inch seam? I'll just answer that question before I go into other stuff. I basically sew with a 1/4 inch seam. There are a few times, like just so happened this block over here with the orange border, when you have a lot of pieces in a small space, then that's when I may go to using a scant 1/4 inch seam. But most of my quilt blocks, if they're 12 inches, I tend to go ahead and use a regular 1/4 inch seam. I don't worry about the scant so much. And the scant is used because when you tend to fold your fabric over, when you press your seam over, it's taking up a little room when it's pressed over. So in every piece that you do, you're going to have that issue. Now, I like to press my seams open when I have complicated blocks, so it kind of reduces the need for me to use a scant 1/4 inch seam. And so I was just showing you that I had made, this is my chain piecing project, and everywhere where I have the little half square triangles, I have pressed those seams open. The only time that I pressed the seams to the side was when I added the sashing that goes through the block. And that's because it's not going to be up against another block. It's actually going to be sashing out here as well. But whenever I have a lot of half square triangles, I just tend to press all my seams open to reduce the bulk of when I actually get to quilting. And I just quilted Peggy's quilt. She's a YouTube subscriber, but she's also local here in St. Louis. She's in my Big Quilting Guild. She's also in my Scrap Quilting Club here. And I just quilted a quilt for her that's called Arcadia Avenue. And you'll have to look that up. Arcadia Avenue. A-R-C-A-D-I-A Avenue. And it met in the middle. It was a hexagon quilt. And it had a lot of seams and a lot of fabric in the middle. And even on my long arm machine, I used my spoon foot. And also that foot would not go over all of those seams. So there are times when pressing seams open is necessary. She couldn't do that because she paper pieced these blocks. And so as you're paper piecing, everything is getting kind of pressed over to one side. But I don't use scant a lot. Very seldom do I use a scant. June Hansen says, I sent your birthday block today. Thank you so much, June. I appreciate that. Diane says, I have your birthday block made. Alrighty. Thank you, Diane, for putting, it's Arcadia, A-R-C-A-D-I-A. And Susan Glenn corrected it. And she says the quilts are gorgeous. And I have the book somewhere that I want to do one. And matter of fact, Peggy even gave me the book one year for my birthday. But I didn't want to work on it while she was working on it because I didn't want to start something that she was doing and then get it quilted and show it off. So I wanted her to show hers. And when I quilted Peggy's quilt, I actually videotaped it so that you can see where sometimes the thing wouldn't, my foot wouldn't go over the seams. But that's going to be in a video whenever I get them edited. But just know that it's upcoming. And Bonita says, awesome, you're welcome. Sandra says, can you maybe explain the birthday block project? I have a whole video up on the birthday block project. But in the short, it is just send one block, any size of a churn dash block. And I just show you some churn dash blocks, how you can make them different. And that's in a video that I uploaded 2 videos ago, and I give you examples, and I even give you a cutting chart. In it has sizes from 6 inches up to 12 inches. So that would be where I would refer you to. This is a birthday gift. I'm just trying to make a quilt from my YouTube subscribers with the churn dash block. So this quilt will be for me. It's not a charity quilt. That's why I'm only asking for 1 block per person. And I want you to also put your name and city and or state on the block as well, so I can know where it come from. Cherise says, hello everyone. Hi Cherise, welcome. Tricia says, hi T, hi everyone. My daughter Ashley and I love watching your videos. Thank you so much, and welcome to the live chat. We appreciate it. You joining us today. Vicky is here saying hello. Hello, Vicky Lemire. And Joan Eklund says, hi T and everyone. All right, so we're going to talk about quilt borders. Although I forgot to pull up my examples of how to put borders on a quilt. That was the question from last week. We got Maxie Doodle just came in saying hi to everyone, waving hi. Welcome to the chat. And Vicky is reminding everyone to hit that thumbs up button. So what I have been doing in the last week, just to get through some of this really fast, is that I have quilted my crazy quilt where I used the AccuQuilt die, and I uploaded part 1 of that video. I need to upload part 2 where I added a border to that video because I used some more AccuQuilt dies, or 1 AccuQuilt die, maybe 2, because I used a 2.5-inch strip die. I never count those. And then I also quilted it, but I used the same quilt pattern that I used on Peggy's Arcadia quilt. One thing about me is I make a lot of utilitarian type quilts because I use them in my lectures. So I'm not as gun-ho all the time about what quilt pattern I put. So if I use a panto from somebody else and the panto is already on my board, I just go ahead and use the same panto. So I didn't record the quilting of the crazy quilt. But I have my label here ready to go. I have the binding on my quilt. Whenever I do my own quilts, I also put the binding on my long arm, so that saves me some time. And now I just have to hand sew the binding to the back. This block here, again, I already talked about it. I used it for chain piecing. And then last week, I showed you one of these blocks that I had made. And I told you I had cut out for 20 more or so. I ended up having 23 blocks when I got done, and I had to cut for 1 more block. So now I have 24 of these blocks, and I will be soon putting them into a quilt top. And I put, if you were in Teaquilts or on my Instagram, I actually uploaded photos, so you kind of got a little sneak peek of the layouts that I was considering. And I did choose one. I did a poll with the people in my Teaquilts group, and they voted, and I actually used their suggestion. So what's on my long arm frame now? This is just a piece of backing fabric for the next quilt I'm going to quilt. Again, another utilitarian quilt. I don't know what I'm going to quilt on it yet. I was just taking something else out so that I can load something else on the machine. I have just guessing, about 50 quilt tops that need to be quilted. So I just need to keep something on this frame at all times. So since I just took off my crazy quilt, I thought that I would go ahead and add that one on next time. Let's see. Ta-da. Diane says, thank you for including your daughter, Tricia. Sandra says, okay, I think I saw part of that video. I will look at it again. Okay, and I tried to keep it as short as possible. It may be like 7 or 8 minutes still, but I tried to keep it short. But I am giving you some examples of the actual churn dash. And my mailing address is in the bottom of any video. So if you just make any churn dash block, don't want to watch a video, then you can just make a churn dash block, don't care what size it is. and just look in the bottom of any video that pulls up for Teaquilts, and you should see my mailing address in the bottom. And Cherie says, yes, thank you. I need help with those borders. So we're just going to talk about it because I don't have anything to show because I totally forgot. I've been so busy cooking all day, forgot all about my topic for today. Katie says, I was the very first thumbs up. Well, thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. Elaine Doucette is here, says, hi, T. How many sewing hours per day do you try to achieve? I don't. In all honesty, I work harder for myself now that I work for myself, but it's not always sewing, and that's the sad part of being a business. Sometimes I am mailing things out from orders. I'm editing video. I have a lot of contacts through my emails for lectures. I also get contacts through my email because I work for my guild. So sometimes I get notifications that actually are not for my business, but I still have to handle those. Trying to keep up with the social media stuff, just posting a little bit here and there. So it's not just about the sewing. And then I also lately have been quilting other people's quilts. I haven't been quilting my own quilts because we're getting ready for our quilt show in September. So I've had a few people who quilts I was quilting, and I think I have one more that I still need to quilt for somebody else. Let's see. Organizing. I need to clean everything. Everything is a mess right now. And that is my biggest problem. I need to go to IKEA. I went back to my studio video where I showed you my studio video part 1, which is not this room. This is my long arm room, which is the studio part 2 room. This is where I keep the long arm. My office is here. I keep 90% of my AccuQuilt dies over here. And then I have my die cutting station over there. And then I keep all of my fabric. Well, not all. I got a lot of my fabric in this room as well, in different storage. So in my studio number 1, I feel like I need to clean that one first because I have an entertainment center in there, and one of the viewers who watched that video, I'm not sure if she's a subscriber or not, she recommended replacing that with a bookcase. And I think she's right because that entertainment center does not allow me to do accurate storage. Matter of fact, it's set up to hold DVDs. So when I open some of the doors, it's got a unit that you put DVDs on, so it's taking up the majority of the space. It's got little built-in shelving that's taking up the majority of the space. And it's not made, I actually received that from my sister. She gifted it. She didn't need it because her TV wouldn't fit in it. She got a new television. And I just was keeping it from going to the trash. And I think that I just need to get something else to put there that will hold a lot more storage. So I think that's going to be my first job that I tackle. I think I may embarrass myself and actually videotape my room before I start working in there. It is horrible. It is ridiculous. You all are going to be like, I don't even know how she got in the room, okay? Because once I went in and started moving stuff around, and a couple of things fell. And of course, I didn't have time to pick that stuff up. I got to like make a label. I got to like put this binding on. I got to do this. So it's a mess. And I have not hardly been in there until sewing these blocks, sewing the spiderweb blocks that I have there. So, but it'll get better one of these days. Let me go back and finish reading these comments so we can talk about. I'll talk about the new Hexagon book that I got in the mail, as well as the other supplies that I received in the mail. Diane says, why not count the 2.5-inch strip die? It costs enough to be noticed. You're right. I just keep forgetting sometimes to count that as a die when I'm using stuff. Jake Paul is here saying hi. Hi, Jake. He's welcome to the chat. He said, this is a video. Anything you want to say? I think we need to get rid of Jake. Diane, can you do that for me? Diane says, laughing out loud at Vicky. As soon as my jet gets here, I'll be on my way. Shakita Pearson is here. She says, hi, T and everyone. Leetta Bryan is also here. She's saying hi, T and everyone as well. Elaine says, very busy lady. Yes, and I'm sure that it's like things that I haven't even told you that I have problems with, like even printing patterns. I got one of my printers just decided if it doesn't print in black and white, it doesn't print. All of my colors are funky. I've replaced ink, and it's an Epson. It's about, I probably bought it in 2015, like when I first retired, to put in this office. So it's, I'd say 5 years old, no more. And it's just acting up. So I need new printers. So I have technology difficulties. I'm having internet difficulties. So I'm having, you know, a gamut, and I'm by myself. So I have no one to really assist me with that kind of stuff. So, and Trivia Henderson is here saying hi, everyone. And Trisha says, thanks, Diane. She's 12. She made about 4 lap quilts. Awesome. That is awesome. I seen a lady in one of the groups. I want to say it was maybe Pat Sloan's Quilt-A-Long group, where she had her grandchildren come over for the week, and they had a granny camp, and they made the... I'm blocking which quilt it is now. It was the unicorn quilt, but I don't know the pattern. And it was about 5 of them. All of them made their own unicorn pattern. I thought that was pretty cool. So let's just go ahead and talk about quilt borders. Okay, so let's say we're going to make this simple math because I have nothing here to show you. Let's say you have 3 blocks across, 4 blocks down, and they're 12 inches. We have no sashing. We have no sashing. So we got 12 quilt blocks that we put into a quilt top. And what most people will do when they start adding borders to that is that they will cut strips, make sure that it's longer than the quilt top, and then they'll add their borders. Now, even before you add your borders, you need to know how you're going to add your borders. Do you want to add your borders to the sides first and then the top and bottom? Or do you want to add your borders to the top and bottom and then the sides? I personally like to add my borders to the long sides first. I don't know why. It's just what I do every quilt that I make. If it's not part of the pattern that I'm developing, if it's just borders with no particular pattern that's going to matter, then I put my side borders on first, and then I put my top and bottom border on first. Now, I've been quilting for a long time, and when a pattern tells me that my quilt's going to be a certain size, generally my quilts are that size. So I don't even have to worry about measuring for real when I put my borders on. I'm confident in knowing that if I have 3 blocks across that are 12 inches, that means that my quilt is 36.5 inches wide. You got to remember, you got to add that 1/4 inch seam that's on each outside that hasn't been sewn to anything yet. If I add 4 blocks going 4 rows going across the quilt, then that means that my quilt is going to be 48.5 inches long. So therefore, what I would do is I would cut my border strips to that size. Now, I'm going to back up for those that are not confident in your quilting and not sure what size your quilt top is. I would recommend that you take a measuring tape. The best measuring tapes are in the hardware section, the lumber section, where you can use these tape measures and then you can lock it down. So what I would do if I have a quilt that's like, I'm trying to measure something that's 36 inches wide, I will open this measuring tape, turn it right side up, and then I would lock it on a spot that's bigger than the 36 inches wide. That way, when I lay this on the floor, I can lay this flat. It'll even sit on the floor or sit on my table or wherever I'm going to measure. And then I can measure my quilt to make sure. When you measure your quilt, sometimes we stretch things out when we're pressing. A lot of people do iron, and when you're pressing, when you press, you tend to keep your quilts the same size. But if you're ironing and moving that iron over your quilt, you're stretching the fabric. So there's a possibility that your quilt is going to stretch. So down the center of your quilt, I want you to measure both horizontally, which is this way, and vertically, which is this way. And I like to use these because I can lock them. Whereas if I'm using a flimsy tape measure that's in the sewing section, those tend to move on me a lot. This is going to stay put. Long as I put it on there, and then as I get so far down, then I would hold it here, and then I would keep going out. So I can control this a lot better than I can something that's flimsy. So you want to measure horizontally, top and bottom, east and west. Now, if you feel like you have really stretched your quilt out, I would also recommend that you measure in about 5 inches from the end and measure that space as well, both ways. And then you can take those 3 numbers. So let's say if I was measuring top and bottom to see how long it was, then I would also measure out here somewhere. This would be center, and then I would take 2 more measurements out here. And then I would take like an average of those numbers to cut my border strip. So I'm hoping you all understand what I'm saying for those that are having difficulty with puckered borders. You want to take an average of those because along the way you've been pressing or sewing hasn't been consistent, so your quilt top is not quite even. And in some quilt patterns, you can't just trim it and square it up because you'll be getting rid of some of your pattern that you've sewn. So let me just check the comments and make sure we're all okay. Cherise, you're right. She says things today are not made to last. Got that right. Vicky left. I hope Vicky didn't leave. I don't think it was anything said that made her have to leave here. I hope she comes back. I'm sorry about that, Vicky. Sin Forrest is here, says hello from South California. Better late than never. Welcome, Sin. And I didn't see what the typo was. Sometimes these things, when I'm posting online, I hate my telephone and my iPad because they automatically make corrections even when I don't want them to make corrections. So I do understand that typos and things can happen. Vicky's been in our chat for a long time, so I'm sure she didn't mean to put anything offensive inside of the chat box. So I got no comments about what I've said thus far about the borders. And then Diane's telling people to please like and share and subscribe and thumbs up. And then Cherie says, okay, because I was just sewing a border on and then working and whacking them off. Thanks. I'll try your method on a UFO tomorrow. And that is the last thing that you want to do, is cut a strip longer than your border and then go to put that strip on your quilt, because you are actually growing your quilt as you go out. And then sometimes as a long armor, I get quilts where I have to make those quilts go back and be square. So sometimes you might have just a little bit of pucker in your border. If you ever see where your long armor has put a little pucker in your quilt, she was squaring it up, and that little pucker, sometimes it may or may not show once you put your binding on. But we have to make sure that those quilts are going back on square. And I actually use a measuring tape when I put quilts on my frame. I make sure that every time I rotate my wheels to advance the quilt, I make sure that the edges of the quilts land in the same spot all the time. So that's how I make sure I keep quilts square. Now, once you got your piece cut to the size of your border, okay, I just saw that, Diane. Thank you so much. Got distracted. Okay, so once you cut your strips to the size of your border, so let me just grab a fabric strip. Hopefully I got one close. Hold on. So I got a little mock of a quilt top, and then we're going to put our borders on the side. So I just have a 2.5 inch strip. Nothing is cut to size. Remember, you're going to have this cut. This piece is going to be cut to whatever size your quilt top is. And then you want to lay this on your quilt. And remember, it's going to end right here. So just because I didn't prepare, I will just go ahead and whack this off. And matter of fact, I'm going to whack it off where it's a little bit shorter than my quilt top. I wish I had some pins in here now. And I don't. Well, I have Longhorn pins. Hold on. Alrighty, Longhorn pins. Now, let's just say, and I probably whacked this a little too much so I can be extreme, but let's just say when you measured your quilt and then when you put this piece up to the border, it's a little bit short. Normally you are somewhere within like 1/4 inch short on your border, and this is about 1/2 inch or a little bit more. So what I do is I will take my border, my quilt top, I will fold both pieces in half so I can get a crease mark. Now if you need to, you can put a pin in there to hold your center. Now sometimes I don't even have to fold my quilt top because I can tell by my piecing where the center is. So it would just be in the middle of one of my 12-inch blocks if I was sewing, if I had 4 12-inch blocks going down. But if you can't tell where your center is, then you go ahead and put this little crease mark so you'll know where your center is. Likewise, you're going to do the same thing with your border strip. So now I have my quilt top, my border strip, and then what I do is I line up those two pieces right at the middle where the fold is, and then I'll stick a pin in there. Now I've got ginormous pins because these are Longhorn pins. Now you can see that my quilt top is not matching up at the top, and like I said, this is extreme and this has not been cut straight, my other back piece. But I just want you to see what to do when your pieces are just a little bit shorter than your quilt top. You don't want to just put a piece of fabric on and whack it and make it fit. You actually want to take this piece up and you're going to put another pin here. And I've got to go let my daughter in. She's knocking at my door. Hold on.
So what Grandma said is accurate because she technically.
So then I will also do the same thing to the other end. Hi, Poo Poo. She got the dog with her too. Hi, Horny. She's trying to get in my lap. All right. So this is what we have. And like I said, this is extreme, but this might be what you end up with. And what you want to do is what's called easing. You want to ease this in, and you always want the bigger piece when you sew to be on the bottom so that it will, your feed dogs on your sewing machine will help ease this in. So then once I get these pins in, then I go between these two areas. I try to flatten that out, and then I place another pin. I go back to this section between two pins. I hold it down, add another pin, and you can add, remember this will be very long, so it might look like here that I'm putting pins very close together, but you can see this is not laying flat. If it's not laying flat, I want to make sure that I get that eased in and put a pin. And then you would do the same thing to the other side. Now I want you to see the difference of me easing that in with pins. And I'm showing you a side view so you can see how much I have just eased in with pinning. I think the biggest problem with borders is when we put them down flat We also grow them, but the other thing is a lot of people still don't pin them when they put them on. And if you pin your top and bottom, and when I'm actually on a quilt top, I make sure that I have at least 2 inches where my first pin goes. So I put my edge up here, and I know that my last 2 inches are going to remain flat no matter what. And then I start my easing process. So that's how you actually ease in a border and make sure that your borders are flat. You don't want to make them grow. Hey, Steph? Steph? Oh, Ben? Just get one of those, the bowl that Stephania has.
Oh, I don't even know what I need to do. Are any of these mine? I gotta make it.
The yellow one, hold on one second.
Yes, I just wanna know my own.
I understand, Steph. That one's hers. This one is mine. That one over there, put some of that in here. And when you throw that, oh, you got to pour this in and then get a scoop, because you have to scoop down and get some rice. And put that, fill this up from there. Ben, did you understand what I said? Can you get her a scoop ladle, Ben? She trying to come get some soup and making it difficult. Hey, Paigey, what are you doing?
Bad on live. Show them who you really are. Let that Leo roar.
Let's see. We've got... Okay.
Show me the... Remember who you are. Like what I mean. You are the one true king.
Okay, Vicky says, okay, because I was just sewing a border on and then whacking them off. Thanks, I'll try your method on a UFO tomorrow. Okay, then we've got Sandra Cubbins has come in. She says, hi, y'all, from Mississippi. And San says, excellent border advice. Remo JS says, hello from Bowie, Maryland. Welcome to chat. Shakita says, I am sewing borders now. Not my favorite, but that means the end is near. Yes, it is. My part is I hate hand sewing the binding, so that's what I got to do now. Don Cunningham is here, says, hey, everyone. Just realized T was on. Welcome, Don. I didn't come on earlier to do a post to notify you I was coming on. So, yeah. Let me see. Cherie says, I like to find the middle way. Okay, I think she's saying I like to find the middle way. The Venatrix says, hi from NC. My first visit with Teaquilts. Welcome to the live chat. If you all have any questions as well, you can post them down in the comment box. I think that is technically it for borders. If you are adding additional borders to quilt tops, you just continue to do that same process throughout. And since my quilting is pretty on point, I tend to just take a note. I mostly would just add borders at any random size I want, depending on what my quilt top is. And so I would just put like a post-it note, and then I would add what I added to each side, so I don't have to keep measuring all the time. So if you are pretty accurate with your sewing, once you get that first square up measurement, you should be okay because you're not doing tiny pieces. So just keep track of what you're adding from there on out. Something else for you?
Hi guys.
The troublemaker.
Just wanted to make my debut.
The troublemaker. She coming to get soup.
Yeah.
And taking everything.
I definitely am.
Right.
Hi guys.
You said that already.
I know.
And quit styling in my thing. Go. Come over and take over my channel. I told her she needs to start a channel. She's so cute. Sharon Martin is here saying hi, everyone. Thank you, Sharon, for coming in. Appreciate that. Carolyn Bowser says hi, T. Welcome, Carolyn, to the chat. Judy Smith says, okay, I am in Reedsville. I don't know who she's talking with. Yeah, they're both in North Carolina. Don says, hey, sisters, I'm from South Carolina, Greenville. Alrighty. So Cherie says, okay, flat borders, I got to remember that. Right. When you saw my little sample, you can really see the difference when you pin and ease in and no pinning. So your machine will try to ease this in, but it's going to ease it in as it wants. Whereas if I'm pinning, I ease in and spread that easing in over my border. So think of this as a long border. It really is less easing when you have something like this. It's got more distance to travel. Diane says time for a quick break. Yeah, when the family comes, it says, Judy Smith says, love the family, T. Thank you so much. Paigey, let's see the dog. Come on, girl, up.
Hey, Mom.
Up.
I'm gonna just take one of these with me.
You're always taking something.
Yeah.
Hi, look.
This is like a personal grocery
Look,
store.
Paigey. Look. Look at that. She's not looking at herself. Hi. Say, I love rubbies.
Spice soda. She can't do anything.
Yeah, I love rubbies. Yeah.
I say, yeah. This is
Bye-bye.
a personal grocery store.
See you later.
Bye, guys. I'll be back. Next time. I'll be back. Okay.
Elbow her out.
Come on, baby.
So, let's see. Diane says, why are kids always hungry? Right. She came over earlier today and she took the entire bowl of soup. And I had two. She only took, because I had one package to go in the freezer. And she took that entire bowl. I'm like, no, that's for my meals later on. And so she came back and she actually now has both soups. But yeah. Let's see. Dana Faber says, this is great. I never seem to be straight. Yeah, and if you all have any additional questions once you try these techniques, then come back and let me know, and I'll try to really get a demo, because I meant to have like a 12 by 12 piece where I cut it like a 1/4 of an inch short, but I just forgot to do it, so I'm sorry about that. June says, thanks for sharing the borders advice. You're welcome. And got people saying, hi, Steph. Hi, kiddo. Don says, beautiful daughter, looks just like you. She actually, people say that until they meet her dad, and she looks just like her dad. June Hansen says, hi, girl, good to see your daughter. Send me some soup. That sounds good. I don't have a clue why I was interested in chicken and rice with more of a broth. Your daughter's beautiful. Love the dog. She says, my kids always shop at my house, laughing out loud. Yeah, it's just like she came over, took my good container that I was storing in and everything else. So if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and show the blocks that came in this week. I got 3 packages. I'm hoping I didn't show her information here. We got Claudette Bettis. Her block came in from Anaheim, California. She is block number 3. Says happy birthday. And she says, to T, may your birthday and the coming year be filled with happy times, wonderful possibilities, and many dreams come true. Best wishes from Claudette, Anaheim, California, 7/2019. Woo! More of an African style, but not African prints, I don't think. Very nice. Love it. Thank you so much. Beautiful block. I'm just going to put it right here on the board for right now. And then the next block I received, number 4, came from Debbie Huey, my quilt friend. We went to the Texas Quilt Show, met Eric, and by the way, where is Eric? He's not here. She made this churn dash block. Very pretty. So she made a 3 fabric churn dash block. Most of them that you see the patterns for, they're made with like 2 fabrics, so that's pretty cool. Alrighty. And the third block I really appreciate came from Australia, which was really nice. It came from Kathy Notley. And she is in Rydomere, Australia. So I have not opened these up ahead of time. Has it in a package here. It's got tea on it. And she's used a recycled bag from the Fat Quarter shop. That's pretty funny. That's awesome. So we'll open the card first. No, it's Karen Notley. Did I say Karen or Kathy? It's Karen Notley, just in case. It had K on the front. And she says, happy birthday to you. Some happy people. They're singing. Happy birthday to you. She says, to T, thank you for all you do. I am so happy I found your channel. I tried to Aussie my block up. The background fabric has names of places in Australia. That's really cool. It says, love the churn dash block, and I'm very happy to be part of your BAQ project. A lot of the quilts I make for me in my house are definitely BAQ. We only have patchwork quilts on our beds. In winter, I just add more. There is no shortage of quilts at my place. No surprise there. Looking forward to seeing all the blocks you receive. I hope you have an amazing birthday. Regards, Kathy Notley, Australia. Well, thank you so much. I said Kathy again. It's Karen. I don't know why Kathy is on my brain today. It's Karen. Karen, I'm sorry. I have days like that where my brain just won't register. Very nice. And then the print, it's a white print. So let me put this down for just a second. And trying to hold up one piece so you can at least see the names right side up. But these are the names in the light background print. And she even fussy cut the center to make sure that the heart was right in the middle. That was really nice. So another thing that you can do is you can fussy cut. Very nice. I love it. So this will be fun to read some of these names. So thank you, Karen, so much for a beautiful block. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for participating. So that was number 5. And I'm going to put all of this back because I have the numbering on the outside. And also, what's not in the video is that I will be doing drawing at the end of the birthday block challenge. The winner will will receive a $25 Amazon shopping, online shopping gift certificate. You'll receive it through your email. So that's the thing. And I did do 2 winners because 2 people while I was on vacation sent me their blocks, and I received the email from one, and I mailed her gift because of the autocorrect mistakes. And she's saying that she appreciates winning, but she doesn't want to take it because it's my birthday and all of that. But I'm going to send it to her anyway because she won. I want her to have it. So I will be sending her a $10 gift thing either tonight or tomorrow. So, My desktop computer is back behind my iPad going crazy. Diane saying, yes, let's see the blocks. Bye-bye, little lady D. She's got to go with company. Cherie says, I want to visit Australia. I love Hillsong. I would love to visit Australia one day, too. Debbie Huey is here saying, hi, sissy. Hi, Debbie. How are you? It was good seeing you. We had a very busy meeting at our guild meeting last Thursday. We had to turn in our quilt show quilts that we were going to put in. That was our last date. So I did do that also in the week. I had to figure out which quilts I was going to put in there. And I can't even find my own Ringo Lake quilt, but I'm going to put it in there so it'll come up eventually. But I got to find it. I used it in a lecture and can't remember which lecture I used it in. So I got to go through container after container to find it. But I'm going to put that one in. Tracy Ruth says, very pretty blocks, all of them. Yes, they are. June says she loves all the blocks. Lovely block from Diane. Judy Smith says, love all the blocks. Great work, ladies. Sharon says, great looking blocks. And Debbie Huey says, we had 91 entries as of Thursday. I think we're over like 150. We're over, and then we had some people that had some emergencies, couldn't come to the meeting. I know we're going to be over, so we'll have plenty. Cherie says, okay, so you're going to do a quilt show video soon, right? Thinking of quilt show, I forgot. See, I have so much I do in a week. I went to the Modern Quilt Guild quilt show over the weekend on Saturday, and you can see behind the wording, this is their raffle quilt that they had. I didn't win because I haven't heard from them. But yeah, so I did go to a show. It was the St. Louis Modern Quilt Guild in Kirkwood Community Center. It's in Kirkwood, Missouri, which is, we all just say St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis has a city and St. Louis has a county, and the county has a lot of suburbs, a lot. And so instead of us just saying all those suburbs, we just say St. Louis. Or we'll say St. Louis County, but mostly we just say St. Louis. So I did that. So I did videotape that. Again, I'm so far behind on videos, it's not even funny right now. So great. So I don't have, oh, I can talk about the new hexagon stuff. What time is it? I got 8 minutes. She said Bonita says there's a Modern Quilt Guild chapter in Charlotte, thinking about joining. I don't know if I would join the Modern Quilt Guild. I don't know. I just won't say. It's just different here in St. Louis. I don't know if it's different like that everywhere. It's just a little bit different. So I showed you last time where I had purchased the paper pieces that come from paperpieces.com for the new hexagon quilt along. This is for the quilt along. They also have paper pieces that are different that goes with doing the new hexagon quilt. So they're different. If you're doing the sew along, you buy that. If you're going to do the quilts out of this book, you can make your own templates, or you can order them from paper pieces. And I'm going to show you just one page. So if you didn't want to make all of these paper pieces yourself, the author Kaja Marique, I guess is how she says her name, I'm not sure. She has gone into business with paper pieces, and they're her official place to make the paper pieces for all of the blocks in this book. And what she originally made this book for was to just do one block a week, and then some of the blocks when you're done. And I don't know, I'm not going to show you the fancy settings. I'll just show you one simple one where she just used the plain hexagon to offset the pieced ones, because this book is for sale, and I don't want to take away from her money. But there are other things that you can do with these blocks. One of the things that she did is she then came out with the sew along. And so a lot of people joined this, and I think it happened in 2015. And if you go to her website, she has where you can download tips for the blocks. So each month she gave them a tip sheet, but notice in this tip sheet, she doesn't have any of the templates in here. On here, she's telling you these numbers on these hexagons refer to the number 1 through 52 of the hexagon that's in this book. So you don't really have the pattern. So in order to do the sew along, you have to have the book. Well, I like the sew along better than I did the settings that were in the book. So I wanted to do the sew along. So I have ordered it, and this is a picture of the quilt that I got off of her site. And as I said, I knew of Milifori quilts, and I've always wanted to do one, but then I actually quilted one of my customers, one of my Teaquilts subscribers sent me her quilt all the way from New York, and so it kind of made me gun-ho and say, okay, I'm going to order the stuff and I'm going to make a quilt. Now, I probably should not have, but in addition to ordering the paper pieces, I also ordered the fabric cutting templates. This way I can see through the fabrics when I want a fussy cut. Now, in order to do that, I had to spend about another $130 or $40 to get the pieces, because she also has some modifications to the pieces as well. So I didn't know which, I know I pulled most of the hexagons out of here, but these are the hexagons or the templates that go with the Rosettes 2 through 6. She calls each month a Rosette that you're making. So I bought all of the templates. I also purchased the end pieces so that I can square it off on the end. I decided I might want to add, let me show you the picture again. You can leave it jagged edged, or you can finish off the end. So I ordered the end pieces where the black is right through here to finish it off so that I can then add a final border similar to this picture. I like the finished edge of it. So I got the edge pieces of the templates. I don't have any edge pieces to cut the fabric, because that's all going to be just plain fabric, so I don't have to worry about fussy cutting. I don't know which fabric glue I should be using, but I thought that I would try Soline's glue. I just decided to try this rather than using fabric glue because they're really thick, and this is a little bit thinner. And I thought maybe it might sit on a 3/8 inch seam line when I go to glue things together. And then I also got refills for those so I won't run out in the middle of my project. And I think that is all that I purchased. Then I went ahead and added some other things into my box so that I can get everything getting ready to start prepping. I don't have any fabric pulled yet, but I used my patchwork scissors. I don't know if you all know about these Kai scissors. And you see this little grid over here? When you're working on applique, sometimes your edges will ravel. So these are kind of a serrated edge so that your pieces don't ravel. So I use these for patchwork, and I have used them before. I just put them back on the card so that I know not to use these scissors for anything else, because I don't want the blade to go dull using them on other things. So that's why I put it back on the card, but it's not new. I also added a sample pack that I have of Orfil thread. This is what I will be using when I start doing my hand sewing. I know Bonita told me that she made a Milifori quilt and she paper pieced hers. She put all her patterns. She split the pattern up and just paper pieced, and that's another way that you can do it as well. I added in some beeswax just in case my thread isn't strong, but I shouldn't have any problems with Orfil. When you're doing hand sewing, you're sewing with one strand of thread, not two. So sometimes you might need to strengthen your thread. Instead of using pins, I'm going to use the fabric clips. So I got like 6 of these in here. I'm hoping that I won't need more than 6. I'm just going to leave them in here. And then I also have some paper scissors just in case. I have pencil and a marker just in case. A Sharpie to mark off the chart, the grid chart as I'm working on stuff. I'm going to use this Sharpie so I know when I finish particular sections. I also just have one of those little cheapy tape measures just in case. Some of my pieces, when I show you some of the pieces out of this paper piecing thing, some of them look like, you know, the sizes are so small they get kind of similar. So I say, just in case I need one, I'll put that in. And I have a needle threader just in case I'm having a bad day and can't see the thread. And then I have various size needles and styles. When I used to machine quilt, I love the, not machine quilt, yeah, machine quilt, and then also hand applique. I would use the Richard Hemming and Sons needles. They're made in England. So these are the ones I normally would use, but I also added just another generic needle as well, because you never know which one you're going to feel comfortable with. So I just pulled 3 sizes, maybe 4. Let's see if I pull 4. Yeah, I pull 4 different types of needles. And so if they don't work, then I'll go back to my needle supply and pull some other needles. So that's kind of where I am. I haven't decided on fabrics yet. I have taken out my pieces out of Rosette number 1, which is for month number 1. So you've got, like, this is month number 1, and then in the back she has all of the paper pieces. So I took those out. Oh, I also put something in here to put a hole punch in my pieces, because the pieces don't have a hole punch, and I think the hole punch would make it so that it will come out easier. And I'm just going to show you this container. It's not set up yet. I haven't even pulled the papers off of the templates, but I sorted for my first rosette. I sorted all of my pieces, and then I put the fabric cutting template in front of the pieces. So this is my 3-inch kite. And so then these are what I would use once I cut my fabric pieces out. Now, I ordered my kit on Etsy from somebody, a store, and already in my month 1 on my first actual hexagon that I have to do, I'm already missing 1 paper piece. So I like to go through things and count before I get started, so I know I need to make 1 more template on my own, so that I'm not going to be out somewhere and then I'm short 1. I'd rather be short 1 at home where I can fix it. So whenever you're working on a project like this, make sure that you have all of your pieces. So that's kind of where I am on that project. So if anybody else want to join me on this journey, that'll be pretty fun. I don't know when I'm going to start. I am excited about it, and I do want to start pulling fabrics for the first rosette. I'm just not sure when I'm going to start, especially since it's my birthday weekend, and I am going to be pretty busy this weekend. So I got a girlfriend in from out of town, so I plan to visit with her as well. Let me go back up here. Sin says she's got to go. Family is home and want dinner. See you later, Sin. Diane says she's talking to Debbie. Gorgeous blocks. Debbie says, keeping you in my prayers, Diane. Sharon Martin is telling Cynthia bye. Sin bye. June Hanson says, by all, we got to have a great week. By all, got to go have a great week. Thank you so much. And Diane says, wow, very beautiful. It is a beautiful quilt, but it's going to be a lot of work. Says the quilt would be beautiful. Too much work for me or complicated. That was Don. Yes, I'm trying to take the challenge. It is a complicated thing. But when I looked at the first month, when I pulled out the paper pieces, the hexagons only have like 6 to 8 pieces. So most of them are just making smaller things that you're putting together with bigger things, and it's how you put them together that makes the actual quilt. So Trivia Henderson left. Carolyn says, I like the sew glue. It works well with fabric. Thank you for letting me know, because this is my first time trying it. Elaine left, said night all and tea. Michelle Power says, hi T. Miss you. Hi Michelle. Welcome back. Dana had to go. And so we're going to be leaving in a bit as well. Diane says, I'm not at the point where I feel comfortable making something so intricate. Who else is going to make this beautiful quilt with tea? Probably no one. Okay. But we're going to go ahead and go. So, I don't think we have any other questions. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. Don't think I did. So, we're just going to go ahead and end here. We've been on for like 66 minutes right now. So, good night, everybody. If you will, don't forget to send me a block for my birthday. And I will be taking them up through August 22nd, or whenever they come in, or whenever I start putting the quilt together. I guess that would be the official last date. And I will see you all next week. What is this? Don says, tell Eric he has been nominated to make the quilt with you. That is funny. Debbie talking about too much for my confused brain. Now, Debbie, they talked about hexagon quilts at our quilt guild on Thursday. You should be an expert now. So bye, everybody. I will see you all next week. Take care, and so long.